What I'm about to tell you took me a long time to understand. Even now, I still hear certain sentences in my head. This story started in a recovery room after the birth of my twins. It ended with people learning that kindness and weakness are not the same thing. I never told my mother-in-law I was a judge. To her, I was just an unemployed gold digger. I am Jade, a 34-year-old federal judge from Chicago, and I was still trying to hold my eyes open when my mother-in-law, Margaret, walked into my recovery room with our family attorney, Mr. Pierce. I frowned. "Where's David?" I asked. His mom smiled and set her purse on the counter. "He's sleeping. You need to sign something before he wakes up." Mr. Pierce opened his tablet. "It's just a trust arrangement for the babies." "Standard protection," I shook my head. "Not today," Margaret laughed softly. "Sweetheart, you don't exactly contribute financially. We all know David carries the weight. Nobody's judging you." "We're helping." Nurse Collins paused beside the monitor and glanced toward the doorway. My hands went cold. Then his mom leaned closer and said quietly, "Some women marry into stability. The least they can do is stay grateful." I stared at the tablet. Why was Mr. Pierce suddenly avoiding eye contact? My husband, David, had no idea his family was inside my room. His mom had always spoken to me that way. Never loud, never rude enough for outsiders to notice, just small cuts that left marks nobody else saw. She placed an expensive stroller near my bed. "I picked this out myself," she said. "A baby should have nice things, even if his mother isn't ambitious." I looked at her. "Margaret," I said. "No." Mr. Pierce cleared his throat. "Mrs. Bennett, delaying paperwork creates complications." "Complications for who?" I asked. His mom folded her arms. "For David. This family built something long before you came along." Nurse Collins adjusted my IV and said quietly, "Ma'am, the patient needs rest." Margaret smiled at her. "Of course. We're almost done." Then she looked back at me. "Jade, I know pride is hard, but being taken care of isn't a character flaw." The room went silent. I felt my chest tighten, and the thing was, she truly believed I had nothing. She had no idea who I had been keeping quiet for the last 6 years. The room smelled like baby lotion and coffee. I was exhausted, but I wasn't confused. Mr. Pierce slid the tablet closer. "We only need your signature." "That's all?" I looked at him. "Then why didn't you wait for David?" His eyes shifted for a second. "Timing matters." His mom sighed dramatically. "Jade, not everything is an attack." I said, "I'm asking a simple question." Before anyone answered, my husband, David, walked in holding 2 coffees. His smile disappeared immediately. "Mom, Pierce, what's going on?" His mom stood up quickly. "Nothing serious, we're helping." David looked at the tablet. "Helping with what?" Mr. Pierce forced a smile. "Just trust paperwork." David frowned. Without me, nobody answered. Nurse Collins stepped beside the bed. "Sir, your wife has repeatedly said she doesn't want to sign anything." The room became quiet. His mom looked annoyed. "Honestly, David, she's making this bigger than it is." He stared at her. "Then why does everyone suddenly look nervous?" And for the first time since they entered my room, Mr. Pierce lowered the tablet completely. David sat beside me and took my hand. "Mom, explain this." His mom smiled. "Sweetheart, I'm protecting your children." I asked, "From what?" She looked at me and said softly, "From uncertainty." David blinked. "Uncertainty?" His mom nodded. "Jade doesn't work. You've always carried everything. I thought you deserved security." I almost laughed, not because it was funny, because after 6 years of marriage, she still believed that story. Mr. Pierce finally spoke. "Mrs. Bennett, perhaps we should discuss this another day." His mom snapped, "No, we're already here." At that moment, Hospital Director Vance stepped into the room. "Good afternoon, everyone." He smiled politely at me, then he froze when he saw Mr. Pierce. "Counselor Pierce?" he asked. Mr. Pierce looked surprised. "Director Vance." Vance looked at me again, then back at the tablet, then at Margaret. Something changed in his face. His mom smiled confidently. "Director, perhaps you can convince this girl to cooperate." Instead, he looked directly at Mr. Pierce and quietly asked, "Counselor, does your client know who she's asking to sign this?" Nobody moved. Mr. Pierce suddenly looked uncomfortable. His mom frowned. "Know who? She's David's wife." Director Vance adjusted his glasses. "Mrs. Bennett, I met Judge Jade Bennett 3 years ago during a hospital ethics seminar." The color disappeared from his mom's face. David slowly turned toward me. "Judge," I closed my eyes for a second. "I never hid it from you," I said quietly. "I just never made it part of family dinners." David laughed in disbelief. "Mom called you unemployed for 6 years. Mr. Pierce looked horrified. "Your Honor, I had no idea." His mom shook her head. No, this is ridiculous." I looked at her calmly. "You never asked what I did. You decided who I was." Nobody said anything. Then David stood up. "Mom, you brought a lawyer into my wife's recovery room without me." The silence felt heavier than any argument. "And if you've ever had someone decide your value before learning your story, then stay with me, because what I found out about that paperwork hurt more than anything she had ever said." David didn't leave after his mom froze. He sat beside me and picked up the tablet himself. Pierce, what exactly was she signing?" he asked. Mr. Pierce swallowed hard. "It's a family trust structure." David shook his head. "That's not what I asked." I watched his face change as he scrolled, then he stopped. "Mom, why is your name listed as temporary guardian?" His mom immediately answered. "It's only precautionary." I felt my stomach tighten. "Precaution against what?" I asked. She folded her arms. "Against instability. Babies need consistency." David stared at her. "You think my wife is unstable?" His mom looked offended. "I think emotions after childbirth are unpredictable." Nurse Collins put her chart down. "Sir, your wife has answered every question clearly all morning." Director Vance quietly added, "And informed consent matters." Mr. Pierce rubbed his forehead. "Mrs. Bennett, I strongly suggest we stop." But David wasn't looking at him anymore. He was staring at his mother like he had never really seen her before. By evening, David had copies of everything. We sat alone while the twins slept beside me. He kept reading the documents over and over. Finally, he looked up. "She planned this months ago." I blinked. "What?" He handed me one page. "Look at the date." My hands went cold. The trust papers had been prepared almost 8 weeks earlier, before the babies were even born. David shook his head slowly. "She already assumed something would happen to you." I stayed quiet. Then he whispered, "Or she wanted everyone else to believe something would." The next morning, his mom called. "David, answer your phone." He put her on speaker. "Mom, why were these prepared 2 months ago?" She laughed nervously. "Families prepare things, that's all." David asked. Without telling us, there was silence. Then she said softly, "Some women aren't equipped for certain responsibilities." I closed my eyes. After 6 years, she still thought I was temporary. She just never expected her son to notice. 3 weeks later, David and I met with our own attorney. Nothing criminal had happened, but everyone agreed the timing and pressure were disturbing. Mr. Pierce withdrew from representing his mom. He even called me personally. "Judge Bennett, I should have slowed things down. I made assumptions." I thanked him and ended the call. His mom reacted differently. She told relatives she was only trying to help. Some believed her, some didn't. Then my father-in-law, Robert, finally called. He had stayed silent for years. "Jade, I saw the paperwork," he said quietly. "I didn't know she'd gone this far." I said nothing. He sighed. "I should have spoken sooner." That hurt more than I expected, not because he defended her, because he admitted he had seen pieces of this behavior for years. One image still stays with me, 5 words like a photograph, silent husband staring at papers, and suddenly I understood something. His mom wasn't the only reason this had lasted so long. 4 months later, his mom asked to meet. David came with me. She sat quietly across from us at a coffee shop. Gone were the little smiles and polished comments. "I made mistakes," she said. David asked, "Mistakes or choices?" She looked down. "Both." Then she turned toward me. "I thought you married above yourself. I thought eventually my son would realize it." I took a slow breath. "You never knew me." She nodded. "No, I knew the story I told myself." We sat in silence. Finally she asked, "Can we fix this?" I looked at David. He squeezed my hand. "Trust isn't fixed in one conversation," I said. She nodded and wiped her eyes. For the first time since I met her, she stopped defending herself. That didn't erase anything, but something changed. She was finally listening instead of explaining. And strangely enough, that was the first real conversation we'd ever had. Last weekend, our twins turned 1. David grilled burgers while friends laughed in the backyard. Even my father-in-law came early and spent an hour pushing the stroller around the garden. His mom wasn't there, not because we hated her, because rebuilding trust takes time. Sometimes love needs distance before it can become honest again. I looked at my children and realized something. People don't always hurt you with shouting. Sometimes they hurt you with assumptions they repeat until they believe them. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop arguing and let people reveal themselves. If this story stayed with you and if you saw something true in it, I'd love for you to like this video, subscribe so you never miss one, and leave a comment telling me what you felt. Has someone ever decided who you were without taking the time to know you? My mother-in-law thought I was an unemployed gold digger. The truth was, she never bothered to ask who was sitting across from her.